One of the least discussed killers of World War II was not artillery, gunfire, or air raids. It was the ground itself. Across the Eastern Front, the Ardennes, the Italian mountains, and the Pacific Highlands, soldiers learned very quickly that sleeping directly on cold earth drained the body faster than exposure to open air. Frozen ground pulled heat relentlessly, leaving men exhausted, hypothermic, and, well, unable to fight. What saved many of them were not issued sleeping bags or advanced gear, but hard-learned techniques passed quietly between veterans. These were not comforts. They were survival measures. If you want to understand how soldiers endured nights when temperatures dropped below freezing and shelter was minimal, stay with this. Because what worked then still works today whenever insulation, power, and modern systems fail. The first lesson soldiers learned was that insulation beneath the body mattered more than blankets on top. Men discovered that no matter how many coats or blankets they used, sleeping directly on frozen ground led to rapid heat loss. Veterans learned to prioritize building a barrier underneath before adding layers above. This meant pine boughs, straw, packed grass, spare clothing, or even empty ammunition crates laid flat. Today, this principle is easily applied. In a winter emergency, cardboard, foam pads, folded clothing, or even backpacks placed beneath the body dramatically reduce heat loss. The rule remains unchanged. If the ground can steal heat, it will. The second survival hack was shallow ground shaping instead of digging deep. While digging deep foxholes made sense tactically, soldiers learned that sleeping deep in frozen soil increased cold exposure. Many instead scraped shallow depressions, just enough to block wind, then built insulation layers above ground level. In modern terms, this means avoiding sleeping directly in cold basements or on concrete floors without insulation. Elevation and separation from cold mass are often more effective than depth. The third technique involved positioning sleep sites based on terrain heat behavior. Experienced soldiers avoided low ground where cold air settled overnight. They chose slight elevations, tree lines, or slopes that reduced frost pooling. This knowledge was rarely written down, but widely practiced. You know, you can actually apply this outdoors by choosing raised ground rather than valleys. And indoors, this translates to avoiding draft-prone low points and sleeping higher within a structure when possible. The fourth hack was controlled layering rather than excessive clothing. Overdressing before sleep caused sweating, which quickly turned deadly once movement stopped. Soldiers learned to sleep slightly cool initially, allowing body heat to warm layers gradually without moisture buildup. Today, this means avoiding heavy exertion right before sleep and adjusting layers so clothing stays dry. Dry insulation keeps heat. Wet insulation accelerates heat loss. The fifth survival method involved shared warmth without crowding. In desperate conditions, soldiers slept close but not tightly packed. This allowed shared body heat while preventing moisture transfer and restricted circulation. Units developed spacing that balanced warmth and dryness. In a civilian emergency, family members sleeping in the same insulated room but not piled together benefit from shared heat while maintaining comfort and safety. The sixth hack was using equipment as insulation rather than storage. Backpacks, helmets, webbing and spare gear were placed under hips, shoulders and feet. Soldiers understood pressure points lost heat fastest and targeted insulation accordingly. Modern equivalents include placing bags, shoes or rolled clothing under contact points. Even small gaps filled strategically reduce heat loss significantly. The seventh lesson was protecting the feet before protecting the torso. Cold feet disrupted sleep, circulation, and morale. Soldiers dried socks religiously, loosened footwear before sleep, and insulated feet separately using spare cloth or paper. Today, ensuring dry socks and insulating feet independently improves sleep quality in cold conditions more than adding extra upper body layers. The eighth hack involved wind control rather than full enclosure. Soldiers rarely sealed themselves completely. Instead, they blocked prevailing wind while allowing minimal airflow to manage moisture. Total enclosure increased condensation and frost buildup. Modern application means blocking drafts deliberately while allowing some ventilation. Trapped moisture creates colder conditions over time. The ninth technique focused on timing sleep with body temperature cycles. Veterans learned to eat and hydrate shortly before sleep to raise core temperature naturally. Warm food was treated as insulation. This remains effective. Consuming calories before rest helps maintain warmth without additional layers or fuel. The 10th and most important hack was discipline over comfort. Soldiers who survived winter campaigns accepted discomfort early to prevent catastrophe later. They followed routines even when exhausted because small mistakes compounded quickly in the cold. This mindset matters today. Cold survival favors those who prepare sleeping conditions methodically rather than relying on toughness or improvisation alone. Why these sleeping hacks still matter? Frozen ground has not changed since World War II. Heat transfer, moisture, and human physiology remain the same. What carried soldiers through brutal winters was not technology, but understanding these fundamentals and applying them consistently. If this breakdown gave you practical insight into real wartime survival, subscribe to the channel for more historically grounded survival knowledge drawn from World War I and World War II. Share this video with others who believe survival begins with gear instead of knowledge. These lessons kept people alive once. They still can today.